Hello, I'm Antonio Mora. This is the newsandnews.com Day in Brief on Friday, March 29th at about 7:30 p.m. Attorney General Barr said today that he is prepared to share the Mueller report with lawmakers and the public by mid-April, if not sooner. He also said he has no plans to share it with the White House first and that he'd be prepared to testify before Congress by early May. However, he said the report would be redacted to exclude secret grand jury information, intelligence sources and methods, information important to ongoing investigations, and anything that could harm the reputation of peripheral third parties. House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jerry Nadler, though, demanded the entire unredacted report and all underlying evidence. At his first political rally since the DOJ said the Mueller investigation did not find his campaign colluded with Russia, President Trump aggressively attacked what he called the Russia hoax, arguing it was a sinister effort to undermine our historic election victory and to sabotage the will of the American people. He held the rally in Grand Rapids, clearly having the 2020 election in mind because his campaign is almost certainly focused on holding three key states he turned from blue to red in 2016, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. All three moved toward Democrats in the midterms. Trump threatened today to shut down the U.S.-Mexico border next week, or at least large sections of it, if, quote, Mexico doesn't get with it to halt the flow of undocumented immigrants. Mexico's foreign minister responded that it does not act on the basis of threats and that his country is a good neighbor. The ranking member of the House Homeland Security Committee, Republican Mike Lee, asked for the whole House to stay in session this weekend because of what he called an emergency at our border, which, quote, poses a serious threat to human life and national security. But a number of Democrats in both houses of Congress again questioned the very existence of a humanitarian crisis and blamed the Trump administration policies for what problems there are. Homeland Security Secretary Nielsen had sent Congress a letter on Thursday requesting more money to deal with the growing influx of migrants. This morning, Jay Johnson, Homeland Security Chief during the Obama years, contradicted fellow Democrats, saying, "We are truly in a crisis." Even though Trump has tried to shift news attention to healthcare this week, ordering the DOJ to join a case before a court of appeals in an attempt to declare Obamacare unconstitutional, he didn't make it a focus of last night's rally. He did claim, quote, if the Supreme Court rules that Obamacare is out, we will have a plan that's far better than Obamacare. Of course, that raises the question of where that plan has been, because Republicans have not come up with a comprehensive proposal, and there's no indication the Trump administration has been working on one. And you've got to wonder why he's focusing on an issue seen as a strength for Democrats. As he likes to say repeatedly, he's president, the rest of us are not, so maybe he sees some political advantage that we don't. And success in court, though, is far from guaranteed. A federal judge late yesterday dealt a blow to the administration by rejecting its efforts to expand access to association health plans. Every day, something new raises questions about what kind of political shenanigans were involved in the decision to drop charges against Jussie Smollett. We've now learned that Cook County State's Attorney Kim Foxx did not formally recuse herself from the investigation. Under fire for the sweetheart deal with Smollett, including scathing criticism from the National District Attorneys Association, Foxx has defended her office's decision, but she's backtracked, saying Smollett was not exonerated and that they would have convicted him if he'd gone to trial. Facing a threatened lawsuit from the city of Chicago, Smollett's lawyers demanded an apology from the mayor and police chief for, quote, dragging an innocent man's character through the mud. But they keep digging a deeper hole for themselves, making silly arguments to defend their client, including that Smollett thought his alleged attackers had worn white makeup, so he thought they were white. You can't make this stuff up. Well, maybe Smollett's lawyers can. For the third time, UK Prime Minister Theresa May's Brexit deal suffered a crushing defeat in Parliament, leading to ever louder calls for her to resign. The UK has now missed an EU deadline for a deal, so Brexit is now scheduled to take place on April 11th, deal or no deal. The latter is seen as the worst-case scenario and something that could be a major blow to the world economy. The EU responded by immediately scheduling a summit for April 10th. This afternoon, Trump justified reversing the latest sanctions against North Korea, saying he wanted to maintain good relations with Kim Jong-un and that North Koreans are already suffering greatly. Those good relations are certainly questionable in light of the news today that North Korea has almost completed rebuilding a long-range missile site it had promised to close. South Korea's president will visit the U.S. in 2 weeks to meet with Trump and discuss how to achieve North Korean denuclearization and peace on the Korean peninsula. Breaking with tradition, again, White House economic advisor Larry Kudlow wants the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates by a half a percentage point. Traditionally, the White House wouldn't weigh in on the Fed's decisions, but that has changed in the Trump era. Kudlow said the U.S. economy looks fundamentally quite healthy and that there's no inflation out there. So he thinks the Fed moved too quickly to raise rates. He expressed concern about weakness in the global economy. But stocks soared on Wall Street at a very good day to end the first quarter. They rose on optimism that China and the U.S. will reach a trade deal. The S&P 500 notched its best start to a year since 1998, up more than 13%. The NASDAQ has risen more than 16% so far this year. That's its biggest quarterly gain in 7 years. And Lyft launched its initial public offering, soaring 21% early, but later losing a good chunk of those gains. An Israeli tank has reportedly hit a Hamas position in northern Gaza this evening. Violent riots broke out along the border, and the Israeli military responded with gunfire that wounded 7 Palestinians. Mass protests are expected Saturday to commemorate Land Day. Israel has mobilized its military, and Prime Minister Netanyahu said preparations have been made for a broad campaign against Hamas. The Israeli military has warned Palestinians not to approach the border fence or risk being shot. Finally, Law and Order SVU should be called Law and Order Longevity. Along with its star Mariska Hargitay, they made history today when NBC renewed it for a record-setting 21st season. That tops the prior record, which was held by both the original Law and Order series and Gunsmoke. We have all those stories and much more updated around the clock 7 days a week on newsandnews.com, where you will find all you need to know in one place. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking on the right of your screen just below this video. Please follow us on Facebook at Real News and News, and follow me on Twitter at AMoraTV. I'll see you again on Monday. Have a great weekend.